Hello my friends, today we are going to the poultry farms in the United States to see how the process of raising millions of poultry takes place in the vast grasslands. Today, chicken is the most commonly raised poultry species in the grasslands of the United States. In addition, duck, turkey and quail farms also appear quite a lot in the grasslands of some states with large farmlands, such as California, Iowa, Nebraska, Texas, or Minnesota. According to the USDA statistics, by the end of 2021, there are about 813 million poultry in the United States, of which chicken is the largest species, with about 64% of the poultry, followed by turkey with 26%, and duck accounting for only 0.04% of the total number of poultry raised in the country. Currently, the majority of poultry in the United States is raised on factory farms, and only 7% of poultry is raised free range on pastures. This is a duck farm in Tipton County, Indiana, home to more than 200 ducks. All ducks on this farm are raised for the purpose of harvesting eggs. Every day, hundreds of ducks on this farm will be herded into the more than 5-acre pasture next to the farm to freely pay and eat small insects. According to the USDA statistics, in 2021, there are about 275 active duck farms in Indiana, and the number of ducks in this state is about 27.5 million. In particular, the Culver Farm in the town of Middlebury is home to the largest number of ducks, with more than 11 million. Like other states in the United States, most ducks in Indiana are kept in closed enclosures, and only about 17 farms in this state graze the ducks on pastures. In addition to the food that ducks can earn on their own in the pasture, the workers at this farm also add pellets and cereals to their diets every day to increase their ability to lay eggs. For free-range ducks with a nutritious diet, they can lay about 280 to 300 eggs per year. Meanwhile, commercial ducks raised in the factory farm can lay 350 eggs per year. Because there are no ponds and small pools of water around the farm, these basins will be used to bathe hundreds of ducks. It is very important for ducks to be bathed and cleaned every afternoon to help them feel relaxed and increase egg production. Every morning, after the ducks are herded to the pasture outside, the workers at this farm will harvest the duck eggs, and the number of eggs collected per day at this farm is about 200. Goodbye duck farm in Indiana. We will go to a turkey farm in Minnesota to see how hundreds of turkeys here are raised. Once the inspection is complete, the eligible turkeys will be moved from this farm to start a new life. Except for the slightly larger size, the newly hatched turkeys don't look much different from the chicks, and the care for them is very similar. These are 3-week-old turkeys, and the hundreds of turkeys here will be kept in cages for 2 months before they are free to forage in the pasture. Currently, in the United States, there are about 2,500 active turkey farms, and Minnesota is the state with the largest number of turkey farms in the country, with around 667 farms. After about 2 months of age, hundreds of turkeys at this farm will be released outside to roam freely and dig for insects. According to USDA statistics, at the beginning of 2022, there are about 224 million turkeys in the country, and about 44 million of them are raised in Minnesota. Currently, only 7% of turkeys in the United States are raised free range. This is another turkey farm in Minnesota, where there are about 570 black turkeys. Currently, farm-raised adult turkeys typically weigh between 30 and 40 pounds. Meanwhile, the maximum weight of wild turkeys is about 15 to 20 pounds. In the late afternoon, hundreds of turkeys will be herded into the barn to rest and avoid predators like foxes or wildcats. This is what happens when the turkeys are eligible for the meat harvest. They are caught by these workers and transported to the turkey processing plant. According to statistics, in 2021, about 46 million turkeys will be slaughtered during Thanksgiving, 22 million at Christmas, and 19 million at Easter in the United States. In addition, every day, about 330,000 turkeys are slaughtered across the country. Alexander Hamilton, the first Secretary of the Treasury of the United States, once stated that there is not a citizen of the United States who does not like to eat turkey on Thanksgiving Day, and now this has come true. The next location we will visit in this video is a free-range chicken farm in Iowa, which is also the state with the largest number of chickens in the country, with more than 61 million. Here's what's going on inside the chicken coop. More than 900 chicks will be raised here for 3 weeks before they are moved to the pasture. Currently, in the United States, there are about 196,000 chicken farms in operation, and only about 11% of them are free-range chicken farms. These are 2-week-old chicks, and in about 10 days, they'll be moved to the pastures to start a new life. All chickens on this farm are raised for the purpose of harvesting meat, so their diets will be different from farms raising chickens for eggs. About 90% of the feed used for these chickens here is corn and pea meal. After about 3 weeks, these workers will catch and put hundreds of chickens in these cages before moving them to pasture. At this pasture, mobile chicken coops have been prepared to welcome the new members. Each chicken coop like this will be used to house 50 chickens, and they will live here until they are able to be harvested for their meat. Due to the freedom to move around every day, the meat quality of the chickens on this farm is always preferred over chickens that are kept in cages for life. And this is what happens when the chickens reach 4 months of age. Similar to turkeys, hundreds of chickens here will be captured and put in cages before being transported to the poultry slaughterhouse. In addition to the broiler farms, in the United States, there are also about 3,400 chicken farms that are free range for the purpose of harvesting eggs. Of course, the eggs at these farms are always much more expensive than eggs at closed farms. Each year, the United States produces 97 billion eggs, and about 11 billion of them are eggs harvested on free-range farms. It is estimated that each American consumes about 288 eggs per year, and this number is expected to increase to 289 eggs each year by the end of 2023. Hello my friends, today we are going to the US state of Texas to see how farming and livestock work here. Although the total value of agricultural products sold in Texas is less than half of that of California, the number of farms in Texas is much larger than in California. According to statistics, in 2021, there are about 248,000 operating farms in Texas, accounting for 77% of the state's land area, and the state's agricultural revenue is about $22.1 billion. Meanwhile, the number of active farms in California is only 69,000, but brings in more than $49 billion in revenue. Currently, the most popular agricultural products in Texas are livestock, cotton, milk, broilers, and corn, of which livestock is the largest revenue earner, with about $12.3 billion, accounting for nearly 50% of the state's agricultural revenue. Currently, we are on a cotton farm in San Patricio County. Mid-October to December is the time of harvest for most Texas cotton farms. Billions of cotton balls will be packed into round bales by these harvesters. According to the USDA statistics, in 2021, in Texas, about 5.3 million acres of farmland is used to grow cotton, accounting for 43% of the cotton area in the country. In addition to Texas, Georgia, Mississippi, and Arkansas are the states with the largest cotton growing areas in the country. As reported, by the end of 2021, there are approximately 7,950 active cotton farms in Texas, and the cotton harvest in the state is 7.7 million bales. Each bale weighs about 480 pounds. After harvesting, billions of bales of cotton will be loaded onto trucks and transported to a cotton processing factory. The average annual revenue from the cotton industry in Texas is about $1.7 billion, and cotton is also the largest agricultural crop in the state. In recent years, China has always been the largest cotton producing country in the world, with about 5.9 million tons. In second place is India with 5.3 million tons, and the United States has 3.8 million tons. In addition to cotton production, Texas is also famous for livestock with a scale of up to thousands of animals. This is a goat farm in Hill County, home to more than 600 goats of Spanish origin. Every morning, hundreds of goats here will be herded to the pasture right next to the farm to run freely and feed. Unlike large herds, goats here are not allowed to move to pastures too far from the farm and can only feed within a radius of 1.2 miles around the farm. According to the USDA statistics in 2021, in Texas there are about 943,000 goats distributed on more than 1,300 different farms. There are farms that raise both goats and sheep. Currently, the majority of goats in Texas are raised for the purpose of harvesting meat. Goat meat production in the state accounts for 53% of the national production, and goat milk in the United States is mainly produced in California. Goats are considered fully mature when they reach 18 months of age. At this point, the average weight of goats is between 110 and 120 pounds. Each day, an adult goat will need to eat the equivalent of 4% of their body weight, and 80% of their food is grass. In the late afternoon, hundreds of goats at these farms will be herded into stables or protected areas to avoid predators. An estimated 1,100 goats in Texas are killed each year by predators such as coyotes and wildcats. In addition, goat meat factories in the state also slaughter about 630,000 goats each year. When it comes to farms in Texas, we certainly cannot ignore large-scale cattle farms, which number thousands of animals. This is the branding process for calves on a cattle ranch in the south of Texas. Cattle farms that are close together need to brand their calves to avoid confusion during grazing. In addition, this is also considered a traditional activity of the cattle industry in Texas. Unlike herds of goats and sheep, cattle herds in Texas can travel up to 15 miles a day for food, and steady control of the herd is maintained by the cowboys by the use of cattle dogs. According to the USDA statistics, in 2021, there are about 174,000 cattle ranches in Texas, with the total grazing area of up to 97 million acres. This is also the state with the largest number of cattle in the country, with about 10.9 million heads, accounting for 13% of the number of cattle in the United States. Every day, these cowboys will move with their herds across the grasslands within the allowed range. Today, the average Texas cowboy salary is about $33,000 per year. In addition to herds of cattle grazing on pastures, in Texas there are also millions of cattle raised on such farms. Every day, these cattle will be provided with food instead of having to roam the grasslands. Each year, about 4.3 million cattle in Texas are slaughtered. Meanwhile, the number of cattle slaughtered across the country is about 30.1 million heads. Goodbye Cattle Ranch. We will now go to the vegetable fields in Texas to see how the process of harvesting millions of tons of vegetables goes on. This is the process of harvesting asparagus in a field in southern Texas. The end of May and the beginning of June is the time when thousands of migrant workers flock to asparagus farms in Texas to harvest. Every year, the United States has about 25,000 acres of land used to grow asparagus, worth about $98 million. Asparagus, after being harvested, will be placed in plastic trays and transported to the packing factory. In addition to asparagus, cilantro is also a vegetable that is grown quite commonly in the fields of eastern Texas. Every April to September is the time when hundreds of workers from Mexico flock to the fields of cilantro in Texas to harvest. Every year, about 150 to 180 acres of farmland is used to grow cilantro, much less than the 4,000 acres grown in California. Coriander in this field will be cut and bundled into small bundles by dozens of workers before being packed and shipped to vegetable stores. Here's what's going on at a lettuce farm in the Texas city of Houston. According to statistics, in 2021, there are about 119,000 acres of land in the United States used to grow lettuce, of which California accounts for 71% of the country's lettuce growing area, and the area planted to this vegetable in Texas is about 3,700 acres. Millions of lettuce plants will be cut and packed right here in the field before being shipped to shops and supermarkets. It is estimated that each American typically consumes about 12.7 pounds of lettuce per year. How often do you use lettuce in your meals?